So, have you ever kissed a bear? This is Quynn Elizabeth, and I am wandering around the West telling stories that want to be told. After a sudden snowstorm drove me down a mountain in eastern Oregon, I found myself driving through a quiet valley in typical Northwest drizzle. I was on my way somewhere else when I came upon a one-street town with a gas pump and a general store across the street. The one-room post office was a few doors down. I'm sure you've been through a place like it. I passed on by thinking I had enough gas to get me to the next town, but suddenly the gauge dipped low enough to make me go back. So I pulled up to the gas pump, and out walks a burly Norwegian-looking man to pump my gas for me. Oregon is a state where it's actually illegal to pump your own gas. I wander around the West on as many secondary highways as possible, only using freeways when I have to. Since one of my migration goals is to get a flavor for the land and the cultures of the West, I find small towns to be a wealth of information, both overt and implied. However, I understand that it is very easy to create a rift between people who seem different from one another, so I am very careful not to overtly offend. Immediately, I commented on the $2.49 a gallon gas price, which got the man going on what he thinks should happen in Iraq. Believe me, you don't want to know. That got me thinking, how am I going to get out of here without offending this gasoline gatekeeper? Then he mentioned Henry. Who? I asked. Henry, he said, my bear, and he pointed behind me. I turned and looked at what I didn't notice before, a 20-foot-high, huge pen. I peered inside and noticed, among other things, a log den in the corner with the hairy back end of a sleeping bear sticking out the entrance. I felt a moment of excitement and then a feeling of doubtful sadness. What depressing story is this? I asked myself. For the next 10 minutes, the gas bear man told Henry's story. He was sold as a cub to a guy in Iowa, but the guy couldn't keep him. So he sold Henry to some boys' club, but of course they couldn't keep him either. He eats like a bear, the man said with a smile. No one wanted this 1-year-old cinnamon-colored bear. The gas man saw him and couldn't bear the thought of Henry being killed, so he took him, built this pen for him, and promptly began making friends with him. I heard how well they got along, how they wrestle and play, and how Henry loves Oreo cookies. I wonder how we got that habit. At this point, the bear man said, "Go across the street and get an apple from the store and you can feed Henry." For a second I thought against it, but the desire to touch a bear overpowered any hesitation, mainly because I intuitively trusted this man who had seemingly befriended a bear. I got the apple, and the bear man led me into the pen. By this time, Henry was awake, and he propped himself on a big rock waiting for what he had learned was coming. I watched the man sit next to the bear, and then Henry leaned on his friend, putting his declawed paw on the man's lap. The apple was cut, and he gave me a piece. "Hold it with your mouth, and Henry will eat it." I asked him to repeat himself. Yes, I had heard him correctly, and in that moment I had to decide, yes or no, to being nose-to-nose with a bear. Against a certain sense of logic, I actually put an apple slice in my mouth and came face-to-face with Henry, the bear. I felt his tongue on my lips 3 times for 3 apple pieces. As I said goodbye and drove away, I reflected on the captive bear. Was it exploitive? While Henry was in a cage, I sensed a mutual kindness from both beings toward each other, and the man didn't charge money to interact with Henry, nor did he have any bear food for sale. In this interaction, I could see how humans and bears have had many kinds of non-adversarial relationships since human and bear time began. And as I drove, I felt the tuft of hair I pulled from Henry's shedding body to remind me of this ancient bond, expressed in a strange way, even today. From a remote bear village in the Northland, this is Quynn Elizabeth. I am Quynn Red Mountain. Thank you so much for listening.